Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back. Thanks so much for dropping in and saying hello. I hope that you're doing well. And today, well, my weekly update. It's that time of the week for me. So let's just dive right on into what I got into this past week because I have kind of started April off with a bang. Yeah, I've finished quite a few things already, so let's get going. All right, so the first few will be some things that I carried over from March and finished up right there in the beginning of April, starting with The Gray Bastards by Jonathan French. This was, of course, part of the kind of group read-along that Steve over at Steve Talks Books is doing. What's the word I'm looking for? Is doing. And so this is book one of the Lotlands series. I think it's a trilogy. And this was a lot of fun. It's sort of pitched as what's the show I'm thinking of? Sons of Anarchy in like a fantasy setting. Now I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy, but I know it's about a motorcycle club, right? So, and I get that feeling here very much. So, we're following this group of half orc, half human folks. They are in this group. They're called the Gray Bastards, and they are sort of in this area that they call the Lotlands in this sort of larger world. That is it's a more of a desolate type area, desert-like kind of setting. Not desert, but you know what I mean. A bit sparse, a bit arid, and the sort of these half orcs folks are kind of looked down upon a little bit in this society. Orcs are sort of constantly kind of invading the area, and then the humans kind of live in this other area, which is a bit nicer part of the country, we'll say, and where they have more prosperity, that whole thing. So that's the kind of world that we're living in. And we follow primarily Jackal, who I'm assuming is this strapping fellow on the cover here. And he is, like I say, one of the Gray Bastards that are, and they have this little community that they have. And as we're following him in this group, we learn that things aren't quite what they seem here. Plots and things, sort of politically within this world, and we just find that out along with the Jackal as he's trying to figure things out, and like I said, things just maybe aren't quite what they seem here, and it's just fun. This was just a really fun story. It is a fantasy. There's, like I said, there's orcs and there's centaurs and witches and this dude called the Sludge Man who controls these Yule type characters. He was pretty cool. What else was it? There's halflings. I mean, yeah, it's got it all. It's a lot of fun, and I don't know. It's not a super serious type of fantasy, but it is a lot of fun. It's a bit on the darker side. With the language and stuff in here, but I don't know. I just had a ton of fun with this one. Tons of fun with this one. And I'll be reading book 2 this month sometime. So yeah, if you're looking for a fantasy that is not so complex, the world isn't too crazy, there's not 1,000,001 characters, this is a good one, I think. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. So yay. I don't think I talked about this last week. Lord, if any of this is a repeat, I do apologize, but I don't think so. I did finish up Wilderness Tips by Margaret Atwood. This was my short story collection that I was working my way through. Overall, really enjoyed these stories. I just love Margaret Atwood. For me, it's her characters. She creates these characters that are so real. They feel so real. You could you feel like you can know someone like that, and I just love it. So these stories range from, I don't even know, like, there's some kind of strange ones in here, and then there's just following day-to-day character types, stories. I don't know, it's really good. Some of my favorites, well, let's see. I really enjoyed the first story called True Trash, which is sort of she flashes back to like a summer camp, and how some things that transpired at that camp affect the future. That one was really good. The one really strange was called Hairball, and it's about a woman who she had a growth removed from like her uterus, and she kept it in a jar and she named it Hairball. That one was pretty cool. There was one called Death by Landscape, which was really wonderful. A woman who it really was kind of another summer camp type setting, and these two sort of younger teenage girls that were friends, and one of them just went missing, and like she was never seen again. And as this woman gets older, she collects landscape paintings, and sort of is sort of homage of seeing her friend through these landscapes. I don't know, it was just really beautiful. And Wilderness Tips, the sort of title story, that one was really great too. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're an Atwood fan and haven't dug into the short stories, this was a really good collection. Very, very solid. I really enjoyed my time with those. So yay. I then finished If There Be Thorns by V.C. Andrews. This is part of the V.C. Andrews read along that Kelly Hooked on Books had cooked up for us this year. This is book 3 of the Dollenganger series, and I did not have a good time with this one. The kids from Flowers in the Attic, they're grown now. Like, the older girl, Kathy, she's, like I said, like her mid-30s now, and she's got kids of her own, so we're kind of following her kids in this one more so than Kathy herself. But like one of the kids, Jory, is kind of like, he's the good kid, he does everything right. He does ballet like Kathy did, all that kind of stuff. And then there's Bart, who is the bad kid, right? And he's a very bad kid. He's the most, I've read a lot of books that have like kid characters, and then sometimes they're like really annoying. This is by far the most annoying kid character I've ever read. Oh my god, he's like a psychopath. I don't know. He got on my nerves, and I read it because we're reading the series, but that was a book. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so then let's just move along. I finished Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. This is the second book that I'm reading of the Star Wars High Republic, the new series. I'll be reading this with Brad Proctor. Again, listen to the audiobook. It was great. This is it's more of a YA entry into this series, and we're following Wreath here, who is a Padawan, and he's been assigned to a master that we met actually in the first what's it called? Light of the Jedi, I think it was called, the first book of the High Republic series. And anyway, let me start over. So we're following Wreath, and he has been assigned from Coruscant, been reassigned to the Starlight Beacon again, which we learn about in the first book. And at first he's kind of like, he's really more of a bookish kind of Jedi. He's like, we're not really looking for action. He just wants to learn and, be close to be in the city, be close to the archives and all that kind of stuff. And he's just not really excited about it. But he's a Padawan, so he just does what he's told. And so he hops on this small ship, and we meet this sort of another younger person here, and they are basically taking them to the Starlight Beacon. And then the story kind of wraps up with tying somewhat into the first book as far as a big accident that happened in hyperspace and all that kind of good stuff. There's references in here to the dark side and to the Sith, and that was really cool. And yeah, it was fun. I had a good time with this one. And yeah, and the world is opening up. We're getting new characters. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a Star Wars book. It's fun. All right. So let me see. Stack over here. So then I finished Slush by Glenn Rolfe. This is a short story collection. I read this at work again. This is an older collection from 2014, but I was just kind of, scrolling through my Kindle to see what I've got on there. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's not too crazy long. I've never read Glenn Rolfe before. Let's check it out, right? And so I did. And overall, I thought these were pretty good stories. I really enjoyed most of those. And yeah, I think it gave me a really good feel for Rolfe's writing, and is definitely something I would check out more of. I really like the way that his writing style, the way his characters are, all that good stuff. He's got a lot of good level of gore, which you never know what to expect. A lot of these were pretty gory, and yeah, very enjoyable. So let's see. I did take a few notes. So there's 12 stories total on here, and let's see. The first one was, I really liked Skull of Snakes. Is essentially about not a haunted, but a cursed coin. And that one was a lot of fun. A lot of the first maybe 2/3 of this collection was kind of coming of age type stories. They had like kid characters and dealing with, things of childhood, that kind of thing. Like the second was called Sweet 16, a girl turning 16. There was one called Jackie Boy, which I guess it really took a turn for the sort of grotesque. Yeah, that one was kind of gross. One that I really liked was called The Curse. This was about a field hockey team, a high school field hockey team, and their absolutely awful coach, who was just cruel and violent. She physically hit them and everything. And I guess she's been doing this for a long time. So they get their witchy vibes together and plot their revenge. And it was a really, really good story. Let's see, any of these I want to mention. A lot of these were pretty good. Oh, the last story, Halloween Worm. That's a very good Halloween story. If you need a story to read on Halloween, Halloween Worm. It's we've got a brother and his two brothers that are kind of wrapping up their trick-or-treating for the night, and there's of course this bully that comes along, and the older brother gets kind of tangled up in this another kind of revenge plot that this bully has, and it involves worms, and it's slightly grotesque also. But it was a lot of fun. So yeah, overall, I thought these were definitely fun. It gave me a taste for Rolfe's writing, and I'll definitely check out more. So yeah, that was fun. So let's see. From there, I finished up Queen of the Cicadas by B. Castro, and I loved this one. I really enjoyed it. Let's say we've got, what I love is we have basically a middle-aged woman. Wow. Okay. And she is going to a friend's wedding, and it's taking place on this house that has been refurbished, but it has a kind of a dark past. And when she's there, she's learning about all of this and how that ties into some Mexican lore, Mexican old stories, and of course this Queen of Cicadas and how she comes about. And we flash back a little bit to a young woman named Milagros and her story, and how she becomes the queen of Cicadas, and again, so through this sort of violent act that happened to her, how that transforms her, and yeah, I just love this. I am in love with V. Castro's work. This is now my third thing by her, and yeah, I just need all of it. Need all of it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan now. So it has levels of really good horror elements with some nice body horror. Especially, there was also this woman, the Queen of the Dead, who walks around with no skin. So she was cool as hell. And there's some sexy times, because that's kind of a V. Castro's thing too. The characters were really just interesting. I like seeing the middle-aged woman character who, was just trying to live her life. She not perfect, but she's also smart. She's like a lawyer. Yeah, I just loved it. I really, really, really loved this one. So yeah, I don't want to say too much else because I feel like I maybe said too much already. But Queen of the Cicadas, V. Castro, big hit for me. Loved it. Let's see. I highlighted a couple of things. Talking about blue-eyed Barbies. Yeah, so yeah, big hit. Next, I read books falling everywhere. Oh, the floor. Okay, I read another Margaret Atwood short story that just came out. It's called My Evil Mother. I think it's an Amazon exclusive. So if you're a Prime member, I think you can read it for free, that kind of thing. And it's a short story, but I really enjoyed it. It basically is about mother-daughter relationships, and we open up the story, and the main character is 15 or 16 at the time, and she's wanting to go out with this guy, and her mom's just like, no, he's not a good fit. Her mom gives off some serious witchy vibes. She kind of makes concoctions for the neighborhood women and things like that. Reads tarot cards, which is why she doesn't like this fella, because he didn't have a good card. She didn't have a good reading with him. Things like that. And it basically just kind of follows them throughout their life, and as they're getting older, and some of her mom's eccentricities, I did say that right, become a bit more pronounced as she gets older, and then the teenager in the beginning, as she's getting older, and then she has girls of her own. Some things just repeat themselves, right? That bickering, that kind of happens, I think, when you're a teenage girl with your mom. There's other stuff going on, but it's a short story, so I won't tell you too much. But I just really enjoy it. Again, Atwood just creates these characters that are just so real, and are super interesting. So yeah, I enjoy that a lot. And most recently, I finished The Twisted Ones by Kingfisher, and I really had a lot of fun with this one. This is a fun story. Let's start this one off. So our main character is a woman. Well, she's nicknamed Mouse, and she is kind of coming back home to North Carolina, and to clean out her grandmother's house, because she's had recently passed away, and her grandmother, they didn't like each other. No one really liked her grandmother because she was really not nice. But she does a solid for her dad. She's like, I'll take care of it, I'll clean it out, because grandma's house is also a hoarder house, and it's full of stuff. It's just full of stuff. So she goes there with her dog Bongo. Bongo's a pretty big part of the story, and she starts cleaning out this house. And well, maybe there's something lurking in the woods. I don't know. There's something lurking in the woods, right? And so she just learns more and more and more, and about the Twisted Ones themselves, and what they're all about, what they mean, what do they do, what's the point. And yeah, it was really good. It's a lot of, this is a really light story, I would say. It's not super scary. and it's actually quite funny in a lot of places. Mouse like speaks my love language, which is sarcasm. She's a very sarcastic person. Awkwardly, jokes in like the wrong situations, that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, is she me on the page? I think so. So I just liked her as a character very much. She was a lot of fun. And even there's some side characters that are also just a lot of fun. Like a woman named Foxy, a guy named Tomas, and there's this goth girl that works at the coffee shop. It's fun. It's a really fun story. It does have creepy elements though, and I think especially if you, like me, like the thought of like someone looking into your window, that kind of thing, like at nighttime, or like spooky stuff in the forest. That's really cool. That's kind of scary, So it has creepy elements, but for me personally, I didn't come away scared from this story, but it didn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I had a lot of fun with this story, and I definitely will check out more from T. Kingfisher. I thought this was just a lot of fun. I did the audiobook, and it was great. So I would definitely recommend it. I think if you are trying to get into horror, I think that would be a good starting point, because again, it's not super duper scary, and there is some some humor, like I said, to kind of outweigh the spookiness that is there, and the characters are really great, and the setting is really great. So I live in North Carolina, so when I heard her describing North Carolina, she really hit the nail on the head. I don't know if the author is from North Carolina or familiar with the area, but they got it pretty much nailed on the head as far as how it feels here, mentioning things like kudzu and porch ceilings being painted blue, that kind of thing. It was cool. I liked it. It was a lot of fun. So I would recommend it if you need something light but still a little spooky. So some things that I have in progress. I finished a chapter of House of Chains. Yeah, I did, and it was great. So I'm gonna keep on going and try to finish this book this month. I had started my short story collection for this month, The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu, and I'm really, really loving these stories so far. They are fantastic, sort of speculative stories. These are fab. I started my poetry collection, or one of my poetry collections, because this was a small one. This is Feeding the Light by Jackie Shelton Green. Enjoying these so far. I'll be through with this one soon. I think I've just got a few more, just a few more left. But yeah, these have been very good and powerful so far. Enjoying that, and I still love that cover. And then just here recently, I started Goosebumps book. This is for Old School April, the readathon that's hosted by Kelsey over at Slime and Slashers. I started The Blob That Ate Everyone. Dun dun dun. This cover is kind of gross. 3 or 4 chapters in, so can't say too much yet. And I started a new ebook for my downtime at work. I started by Tessa Bailey. What's the name of it? I'll try to put the picture here. It's a vampire romance story, and so far I'm really liking it. I was kind of in the mood for a little romance books. I hadn't read one in a little while, so I wanted to read it. So I did. So I started it, and it's fun so far. So that's it, I think. I did start watching some things for Old School April, because it's a readathon and a watch-a-thon. So I watched an episode of The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is a Nickelodeon show that I remember enjoying some of. I didn't watch all of it or anything. I'm one of those folks that I didn't grow up with cable or anything, so I had to watch that kind of stuff, like other friends' houses or stuff like that. But I found actually a YouTube channel that has a lot of the Pete and Pete episodes, because they're hard to find for some reason to stream and stuff. Anyway, so I watched a Pete and Pete episode, the very first one. And then just last night I watched Flowers in the Attic, the old one from the 80s. I've been wanting to rewatch it since I read the book, a few months ago. Because I remember watching this movie, a million years ago. And And yeah, it was pretty good. I'd forgotten some bits. I mean, they captured the essence of the story, I think, pretty well. The ending was very different though. But yeah, it was fun. Fun to relive that movie. And then last night I also watched an episode of The X-Files. I think it was like the fourth or fifth episode, the one about the Jersey Devil. And it was so fun. I just love The X-Files. I had started rewatching The X-Files, gosh, probably a couple of years ago. And I honestly didn't get very far because I think I had only gotten to like episode 4 or 5. So I just picked it up where I left off, the episode about the Jersey Devil. And how much do I love Mulder and Scully? Fan for life. So I think that's it. Phew, I think that's everything. Last night, let me just say, I was part of a live chat discussion over on Kelly Hooked on Books' channel. We chatted about, I and our friend Melissa chatted about Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. I'll link that below if you want to check that out. It does have some spoilery stuff, so if you've not read it, you may want to wait. But if you read it and want to see what we thought and add your thoughts, definitely do that. I'll link that below. And that was a lot of fun. And what else? I think that's it. So thanks so much. That's going to do it for me. Appreciate your time as always. And until next time. Bye, friends.